There's nothing more refreshing than cracking open a cold drink after a hard day of work. I'm Steven Overturf, and today I'm going to walk you through designing a retro-inspired beverage can in Adobe Illustrator, then using Firefly Boards to create a realistic mockup. Let's crack this thing open. I'm starting this design by setting up the beer information and establishing some guides for how the front of the can is going to work. The beer is called Low Tide Lager, and it's a beach-themed beer, so right away I'm thinking about how this should feel relaxed, coastal, and easygoing. I already know the size I'm designing at, and I'm setting up guides to help define where the main artwork should live on the front of the can. Doing this early keeps everything centered, readable, and balanced as the design comes together. Before I start laying anything out, I want to lock in my type choices. I head over to Adobe Fonts and start searching for retro styles. I'm looking for something bold and confident that feels rooted in vintage beverage packaging. For my main typeface, I land on Ars Nova. I download the full family so I have flexibility as I build out the design if I need. For my secondary typeface, I'm using Monte Stella, which I already have downloaded. It pairs well with Ars Nova and works great for supporting copy and smaller details. With my fonts selected, I start laying out type and building the main badge. This badge is going to be the focal point of the can and anchor the entire design. I'm thinking about hierarchy, spacing, and how the eye moves across the artwork. If you want a deeper breakdown for this process, I've got a full episode on badge making over in the Adobe Live Video section of this YouTube page. Here, I'm applying that same thinking specifically to a beverage can. As part of the badge build, I'm drawing a simplified Florida shape since the brewery is based in Florida, specifically Seaside. Along with that, I'm going to add a 1983 as my established date. I'm not tying this to a specific event. I'm using it to give the brand a sense of history and longevity, like it's been part of the beach culture for decades. Those details help ground the design and make it feel more believable. Next, I'm starting to build out my color palette. I'm leaning into a retro beach feel using navy, ocean blue, red, orange, and yellow, and an off-white sand color. I also want to add a gold gradient. You can find pre-made gradients right inside the color books in your swatches panel, which makes it easy to get that classic metallic look without overthinking it. That gold hit helps reference vintage cans from the 1960s and adds warmth and polish to the design. To push the beach vibe even further, I'm setting up a series of horizontal lines using 3 of my colors to create a sunrise or sunset feel. Once those lines are in place, I group them together, go to Effect, then Warp, and apply a wave effect. From there, I'm adjusting the settings until it really feels like ocean waves. This adds movement to the design and keeps the layout from feeling flat or static. With that foundation in place, I start adjusting the color of some of my text and layering in additional copy. This is where the can really starts to pick up personality. I'm adding supporting information, small phrases, and details that help communicate what Low Tide Lager is all about. I'm constantly checking hierarchy here, making sure the main message stays clear and everything else supports it. For one of my lines of copy, I want to reinforce that wave idea even more. I'm drawing a line, going to Effect, Zigzag, switching it to Smooth, and adjusting it until it feels like a natural wave. Once I'm happy with that shape, I'm going to add Brood for the shoreline along the path. The movement ties directly back to the ocean theme and adds a nice bit of character to the layout. For the required information, I add the ABV and milliliter size, but instead of letting that text float on its own, I'm going to build out a secondary holding shape behind it. In the appearance panel, I'm going to add a gold accent stroke behind the fill layer, then stack an additional blue stroke. This gives that information more structure and keeps it visually consistent with the rest of the design. At this point, the artwork for the can's finished. So I'm selecting all my artwork, hitting Command-C to copy, and then I'm moving over to Adobe Firefly Boards to start creating my mockups. Here, I'm pasting my artwork by selecting Command-V on my keyboard. Inside Firefly Boards, I'm ready to generate my mockups. I choose Generate Image, select Nano Banana 3, and use the eyedropper tool to sample my artwork. This helps keep a good balance of realism and consistency while still letting the mockups feel natural. For my prompt, I'm asking Firefly to mock this artwork up on an aluminum drink can with an open tab, placed in the sand on a beach, focused close up on the can, and lit with a retro lighting feel. From there, I start experimenting with a few different prompts. I'll tweak lighting, camera angles, or environment details slightly to get a range of mockups. This gives me multiple options to work with and helps explore how the design feels in different settings. Once I've got a few mockups I'm happy with, I'm ready to present. At this point, I can show my client their new low tide logger can design, complete with realistic visuals that help bring the concept to life. Now that I have finished my drink, the rest is up to you and how you want to craft your own flavor of can design. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like this video, comment, subscribe, and stick around for more instructional design content.